So we're here in your studio in Art Space. You're one of our 2 emerging artists in residence. Can you give me a bit of background about where you're from and how you got here?
Yeah, so I grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina, so about like an hour out. I was always drawing and painting. I was like that weird kid in the corner who like didn't talk and was just like drawing all the time. So I think I always had like a natural inkling towards like art. But I didn't go to like a formal art school in like college, but a lot of like when we talk about like figure drawing and like the human anatomy, a lot of like the training is like very traditional and like the Renaissance paintings and like the European style, and like it was a lot of white men. And I never saw me in that. So I'm like pretty intentional now of like painting primarily like Asian and Asian American bodies, but also like BIPOC bodies in general. So yeah, a lot of my work has to do with like gender, sexuality, history, culture, ethnicity, those kind of backgrounds and histories, and how that kind of influences what we eat today. Just like Western medicine is so like egotistical in a way that like they don't understand or acknowledge other practices that have been like developed over like thousands of years by like Black, Indigenous, and Asian communities, and I kind of wanted to like look at that and like contrast that with what I was taught in these institutions in America. So yeah, a lot of my work has to do with that, and I'm like continuing that process right now.
That's super important. I mean, that's characteristic, I think, of a lot of Western thinking, to be like so centralized in like probably quantitative thought. Like everything must be measurable, must be quote unquote objective, when a lot of non-Western thinking is defined by the qualitative and the emotion and the feeling, and that like is the ethos, that is, you know, the measure. So I think it's important that you're tackling that. Can you show, is there any work here that you kind of explore that in?
Yeah, I can talk about this one right here. Do you want me to like pull it out?
Yeah, sure.
Here.
So what are these?
Yeah, so this is part of a series I'm doing on like soy. So this is actually soybean sprouts. I wanted to talk about soy because in Western nutrition, it's often seen as like an inferior substitute for dairy. If you look at like the global population, 60 to 70% of people can't digest lactose when they're adults. And most of those people are BIPOC. So I just kind of wanted to like explore ways that soy is consumed that is not typical of like what we think of as soy in the West, and kind of challenge how people see it, if they even see soy at the beginning or they see something else, and how does that make them feel.
Speaking to personal narrative is enough, and I think that's the use, if not like one of the uses of art. But a friend of mine did make a distinction recently between just being an artist who does that, and then also being a cultural worker who's trying to use that for other things, like for activation or cultural engagement or public work, and how you can possibly do that in different ways through visual art, which people typically only look at in an observational way. Do you feel like you're kind of accomplishing that, or you're doing other things alongside this that help to accomplish that?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think sometimes BIPOC people in general, and like people who are identifying like marginalized identities, like are expected to be like activists in a certain way, and I don't think that's like necessary for everybody to do. For me, I engage with like community and arts and like helping promote like the arts and community through like other means than like just like my oil paintings. So a large project I'm doing right now is called Asian Joy. It's an oral history and a community-driven mural project. We are collecting oral histories from 6 to 8 Asian Americans in North Carolina. Wow. And we're going to be publicly archiving those, and then bringing them back to do creative workshopping and have them help us design a mural together about the stories of Asian Americans and the idea of like understanding and finding joy within ourselves and our community, and sharing that and installing that mural somewhere around the Triangle area. That kind of project helps me like combine all of those things together. I was really just excited to come here for my residency to like learn the day-to-day of how to actually be an artist, which sounds like very vague, but like I never went to art school, so I didn't really realize like, you know, like how to talk to galleries, how to like, you know, do the whole business side of art and like actually like promote my art as like a business rather than just like a hobby. So really I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just here to like vibe and like have a good time, but also like connect with like all the artists here have been amazing, and like the local gallery spaces and the museums and like talking to people like you have been really, really great. So yeah, I think that's all I was like really interested in.
Well, maybe that's just enough. I think spaces like this that kind of force all the artists to be in one communal area probably helps your work progress, you as a person progress. I think it's beneficial to all of you, and I'm sure, you know, you do have your intimacy, like your ability to be intimate with yourself, like in this space. But then you also have to walk out and look at and interact with everyone else, and there's a sort of like engagement that happens there that you won't get if you were doing this at home. So we're happy to have you. I'm glad that you can achieve that here.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.